The power has returned. Alien technology is bonded into armor systems. Threats gain complete no negative impact on suit performance. Yeah? Is that, can I... Oh, nope. Don't get me started on the community or we'll be here all day bitching. I think it's okay to talk about. Like I said, I don't... Since hibernating biofilms in the chambers or steady chambers are made of a number of exotic metals, it'd be quite difficult to breach them with conventional weapons. Okay. I think I still stand by the opinion that I had years ago, or I guess that I still hold to this day, but I still stand by the opinion that, like, the biggest issue of the community was the fact that there were just too many people with too many different, like, viewpoints, and also the mix of, like, having, you know, rather young people with, like, much older people. I think also, like, kind of... also, excuse me, Jesus, also played into that whole thing. Like, it was just kind of a mess. I guess at the end of the day, it had, like, the same kind of issues that, like, most Discord communities, or really most online communities have in general, where it's just, like, you know, you have, like, a mix of too many people, and so, like, fights are inevitable at some point. Hey there. Hello. Do not be afraid. I am Umos, Sentinel of the Luminoth. Please listen and hear of our world's peril. Check out my 3 fingers. Oh, and then also my orb. Long ago, a cosmic object fell to our planet. Ether, exploding with great force. A rift was torn in time and space, and a strange power flowed over the world. Where once there was one Aether, there were now 2, one of light and one of shadow, each existing in its own dimension. It was the end of peace on Aether, for a new race was born that day on the Dark World, one filled with hate and terrible power. They are the Ing. The Ing are creatures of shadow and darkness, knowing nothing of peace or mercy. For decades we stood against them, yet now we lie on the verge of defeat. When Dark Aether was born, our planetary energy was divided, half for our world and half for theirs. Should one world gain control of this energy, the other will perish. But what if you're lying, though? Before you arrived, the Ing had stolen a device from us, one that collects planetary energy with it. They have weakened our planet to the verge of collapse. But fortune smiled upon us this day, for the energy transfer module is now bonded to you. With it, you can help us restore our world. You're our only hope, Samus. Should we fall, the Ing will look to see the stars for new planets to ravage and conquer. Your species could be their next victims. The Ing have taken our energy to 3 temples on Dark Aether. Find these temples and transfer the energy from them to our own. I have updated your map system with the location of another temple. There is knowledge there that can help you on your way. I've also updated your translator module. You can now access devices and doors coded with violet holograms. Many lands are now open to you. Prepare well for your journey. The Ing know you possess the energy transfer module. They will try to recover it at all costs. Return to me once you have restored the energy to a temple. I will aid you as I can. Oh, may the light of Aether shine upon you. How the fuck do I know you're not lying to me, though? You're a bug man. I don't trust you. Doesn't help that our fearless leader was a raging bitch that enjoyed getting close to mentally ill people to use and discard when we started thinking we can rely on her. I will say, you know, I do think, like, this is a very, like, general statement, and I definitely agree with what you're saying. But I will say also still that, like, there were a lot of people who weren't exactly the easiest to deal with, counting myself as well at that time. It wasn't a great time in my life in general. But, yeah. Yeah. In a certain way, though, like, the fact that it happened as it did put a lot of things into perspective for me as well, and it definitely kind of helped with, like, you know, figuring out more of, like, where I wanted to be in life. That said, like, I still very, very much agree. Like, the temple in Agon's dark shadow holds what you seek. Return the missing energy before Agon is lost forever to the Ing. Okay. Like I said, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Again, yeah, like, it was a mess all around. Like I said, I think, generally speaking, the biggest issue we had was just, like, I mean, I guess really everything. if we're being like that. But yeah, like I said, for me, I think biggest problem was it was just, like, it was kind of a mess of, like, a community, because there wasn't any, like, real, there wasn't any proper, like, moderation. You know, too many personalities without a lot of, like, idea on how to, like, I guess, quote unquote, wrangle everybody. Oh my fucking god. The light is attacking me. Light generating flyer. Well, you know, you can fire bursts of energy or income. Yeah, but how do I just kill it? I killed the light, guys. I did it. I'm the light bringer. I'm the fucking universe. Like I said, realistically, I don't think you can say that, like, it was just fully one person's fault, but I still also agree with you that, like, you know, there does seem to be, or there did seem to be, like, sort of a, I don't know, like, I don't really know how to call it, like, but it did always seem like she just sort of, like, latched onto a lot of people who weren't doing super well, and then ended up just, like, discarding them once, you know, like, once actual help was kind of needed, you know, like, is that thing where people are, you know, like, they want to be supportive, but they're only doing it in the sense of, like, patting you on the back and going, like, oh, you know, everything's gonna be fine. And I say this as somebody who, you know, received that a lot, and it did help to like a certain degree. But I do feel as though, like, looking back, and you know, maybe I'm misinterpreting it because it has been like a couple of years, but looking back at it, it kind of felt like once it actually came to like properly helping, or to like, you know, being there in moments where like it mattered, it kind of just felt like, you know, not right now. And it's like, I don't know. On one hand, I get it because you're not obligated to help anybody, right? But it kind of has a different like aftertaste when you like offer your help and you offer to be this person that can be talked to, but then you're just sort of like, as soon as it gets to like actual problems, or I don't know, as soon as there's like a disagreement or some kind, then you're just like going away, and it's like, I don't know, difficult to really say like this is okay. That's how I see it. I don't know. Like, again, I understand that despite the fact that like you say, you know, I'm here to talk to you, and like if you need it and whatever, like despite that fact, you're again not obligated to help anybody, because everybody has their own problems as well. Like, I understand that. But again, if you're going out of your way to say that you're going to be that person who like wants to help, and then you don't when it matters, I don't know. It has like a weird. You know, it just leaves like a weird taste in my mouth, I guess. I stopped letting myself be emotionally vulnerable with people who claim they want to help because they don't want to have my problems thrown back in my face later. Yeah. And again, like, I understand also, like, I was at like a pretty shitty time in my life during that specific time frame, and I know that I wasn't the easiest to deal with, and I understand that. But for me, what really like hurt me the most was like the insinuation that, you know, I was lying about my mom and my aunt getting cancer. And again, I understand that in a general like in general it might be hard to believe, because I knew like a bunch of people who either had a family member or, you know, had gotten cancer or been diagnosed with cancer. Like, I understand that might be hard to believe when you don't have the context of like understanding how many people I know for real, like how many people I've talked to over the span of my life. But it was still one of those things for me where it's like, I don't have a reason to lie about it. Like, why the fuck would I? That's like a horrible thing. Or you had heart surgery. I mean, that's a whole different story. That's like a whole other. That's a whole other can of worms. But like, yeah, you know, it's at the end of the day, like, I like to look at it in the same way as I look at everything, which is like that part in and of itself was somewhat useful to my life, because it gave me the opportunity to kind of like move past. Oh, nice. Okay, I didn't realize that was that. It gave me the opportunity to like move past who I was back then, as dramatic as that sounds. I'll maybe read those later. I don't know if it was like worth destroying the friendship over, and if it was like, you know, worth being kind of a cunt over. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know. Maybe it was better that way too, like. Link storage units. Ah, okay. And I guess if I'm like thinking about it from my perspective at the very least, I think my parting with her was possibly like a bit more amicable than yours was. Photosynthetic flying insectoid, relatively harmless in shadows, powerful and invisible in the light. Well, I'm still gonna fucking kill him. There's a handful of bad actors taking advantage of children and the mentally ill. Yeah, I can see it. I can definitely see it that way for sure. Sandstorms and heat exposure, judging by the number of blast wounds. Target was dead long before the desert got to it. Ah, okay. Sandgrass. Plant requires no moisture to survive, relying exclusively on solar energy for sustenance. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, like I said, like I can definitely see it that way too. Which again just reinforces my point of like, it was mostly the community that makes you like, you know, see the program itself in a negative light. And it, like overall there were a lot of strange people, from you know, attention seekers to, oh lord, to just straight up weirdos that maybe should not have been around younger people. I mean, retroactively, you can, like, say that about anything, really, though. Again, I do think there were maybe some people who should not have, you know, who should have, like, maybe not been let into the community. Or at least, like, I've said this a couple of times in the past, like, maybe there should have just been some way of separating, you know, the older members from the younger members. But then, I mean, how do you do that, right? I don't think it's possible to have, like, no interaction between the two at all. There would always be some form of, like, crossover, and then the whole concept is out the fucking ass. No, but like the, you know, the whole concept is out of the window then anyway, and it's like, you know, what's the point? Well, like I said, I also, like, in general don't mind talking about it. You know, I think it's one of those things where it's good to look back at something like that and, you know, maybe like recontextualize it as an adult or just, you know, as an older person. Wait. Oh, there we go. At the end of the day, you can also just sort of... Oh, fuck me, what the hell? At the end of the day, I think you can also just sort of, like, maybe look at it as a thing of, like, you know, we were all young once and we were all stupid. The problem is that like maybe the older people in the community, which I guess by the end of it I was one of them too, perhaps should have. I probably can't scan that yet, right? Yeah. Okay. Maybe some of the older, or just in general, some of the leadership should have been a bit more like attentive of the actual problems and like not be so ham-fisted about their like weird interpersonal drama. Because that was also another thing, like it was so like thinking back at it, there was a lot of different drama, and like some of it like sort of made sense. Uses part of Luminoth's sonic security system. Lens is connected to a sonic control system. Sonic detection gear needed to interface with the system. Okay, so I can't do that yet anyway. Neutralizing the control emitter may affect the lens. Okay, well, that doesn't do anything. Oh, whoops. There's the red door down there that I'm gonna look into real quick. Too late to fix it now. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, to me, the whole point is just that, like, I think it's fair enough to, like, you know, talk about it. Again, recontextualizing the things that happened back then. Like I said, I don't believe that, like, anybody is without fault. Whether or not you could argue that there are people that are, like, more at fault. I mean, you always can, right? And frankly, I have, like, no... Honestly, I have very little, very little desire to reconnect with anybody there anyway. That I'm not already, like, involved with. Can I... Is controlled by bomb slot device. Ah, okay. So I can't do this right now anyway. Alright, fair enough. At least you found... If I touch this, do I die? The fuck? Blue! Wait, is that... Was that fine? I guess that's fine. Oh, this is the... Okay, this is just the save room. But yeah, like I said, I don't have an issue with, like, talking about most of the stuff back then. It's like... I'm just at a point in my life where, like, I can do without, like, the unnecessary drama, if I'm being real. And like I've said it before too, if you know, if there's people that want to involve themselves with the Kamipo community, I don't care. You know, like, whatever, it's fine. But I personally, I think, just want to, like, stay away from it. Because I don't really see any sort of point. Get out of here. You bothered me. Filth. Can I scan that? No. I already wanted to know earlier, like, what that is exactly, but I don't think it's gonna let me know. I think one of the funniest things to see, though, is that this is kind of, like, apparently a thing that happens with, like, a lot of communities. Is this just... I think this is just the way back. It, you know, of all, like, the different communities that I've seen over the years, apparently a lot of them are just like this. And I will probably need a bomb there. I can't really go down there. Especially in, like, the art sector. I guess it kind of makes sense. Oh, shitting! Who are these guys? Oh, it is. Yeah, it is a pirate trooper. Starfaring brigand. Aggressive, well-armed bioform trained for combat and conquest. Sworn enemy of Samus Aran. Okay, that's the same. Get out of here. Get fucked, idiot. Oh, goddamn, they fucking don't die that quickly, do they? I wonder if this is gonna have the different color troopers as well, because I know you have, like, different beams in this, so... Oh, what are you? You're new. Brisgy. Venomous insectoid. Finish it off quickly once the stinger is exposed. Okay. What if I just shoot it like this? What if I just... fucking... Oh. Well, that's apparently what you're supposed to do. But yeah, you know, like, overall... Space pirates strangely dislike theft. The only way into their crates is through the use of force. Well, force I shall use then. Nothing scannable here. I can make it up there, but it doesn't seem to, like, actually go anywhere. Actually, except over there, I can go there. Fuck. I just kind of, like, realized that, like, I really haven't given any thought to the Kamipo community. I don't fucking know how long. Oh, shit. It's been a minute. I'm almost tempted to see, like, what people make these days with it. But, like... not enough to go on DeviantArt. Statue of Dhr, the child hero of Agon. Once lowly acolyte squire, he became a warrior when the temple was attacked. All warriors but Dhr were slain, leaving the boy as sole defender of the temple. He served Agon for nearly a centicycle before being lost in the battle on Dark Aether. Okay. Weapons, artillery, okay, would damage anything made from this alloy. So I'm not assuming... Yeah, okay. Extract minerals from raw ore, okay. Alright, what do we got here? Okay. What the fuck? Shriekbat. Territorial frying rodents. Based on unlimited POAs, I doubt anyone has done anything really cool with it. I fucking remember, like, when I figured out shading, I thought I had, like, fucking rediscovered gravity or some shit. I was like, wait a second. This works! And it instantly elevated all of the quality of, like, stuff that I did. And then later I figured out that you could just, like... That's when shit really got crazy. When I figured out that you could just, like... basically just, like, convert models into, like, being usable in Commando. And then you could, like... What I did back then, I guess, was that I fucking just, like, basically edited, you know, the heads of characters onto, like, different bodies in GIMP. That was before I even had Photoshop. And I thought to myself, like, holy fuck, I'm insane. I'm, like, crazy, dude. I can... The power of the light is at the tips of my fingers. I also had that stroke back then. And then, like, later, you know, now that I, like, can actually do Photoshop, I realized, like, yeah, this is, like... This wasn't really, like, a big... This wasn't really, like, a big discovery. Just, oh, I can edit images. That's crazy. I never even thought about that. But it sure hasn't gotten an update since the last DLC where it added the ability to clip items to any body part. Yeah, basically. Basically, I don't know about the Japanese version. I think it's probably the same. But yeah, that's very, very true. I don't think there has been, like, any form of update at all to Commando in, like, the last... Fucking, I don't know. Is 10 years, like... Is 10 years a crazy time frame to say? Maybe 10 years is too much, but I would say, like, 5 or 6 years. I'd be surprised if any of the old clubhouse is still around. I don't know who it was who told me. It might have been you, actually, that they were trying to, or have revived, or quote-unquote were trying to revive the clubhouse with new people. I don't know whatever came of that, though. Assuming we'll need something different here. Curious that a few folks who might just be because they didn't want to learn anything else software-wise. It could be, yeah. I wonder if there's, like, people from the Commando community who are, like, using AI to make their comics now. It's actually kind of an interesting thought now that I think about it. I was gonna say I can't go out here. Though granted, I don't think you can get any, like, the one thing you can say about Commando is that, like, there was at least some consistency with the art style. Which I don't believe you can properly do with AI art. Last I checked, they were attempting to make a new community on DeviantArt after I nuked the clubhouse, but who knows? I'm not going to look for it. No, that, you know, that's not, like, my point at all. Oh, hello there. Is that this is a new one, right? Alpha Sand Digger, large tunneling bioform, extremely well armored. Yeah. Oh no.